In other news now, in the shadow of the Grand War Memorial, the French President Emmanuel Macron marked the 100th anniversary of the end of the World War by delivering a forceful rebuke against rising nationalism, calling it a betrayal of patriotism and warning against old demons coming back to wreak havoc, chaos and death. And of course, Donald Trump heard all of it and said it was indeed very insulting to him. The following day, Trump skipped the peace forum attended by a clutch of key figures and cancelled a visit to a military ceremony on Saturday, citing poor weather. And now he has, of course, lashed out on Twitter this morning in America as well, saying Emmanuel Macron suggests building its own army to protect Europe against the US, China and Russia. But it was Germany in World Wars I and II. How did that work out for France? They were starting to learn German in Paris before the US came along, pay for NATO or not. And Elena is now joining us from Paris for more on this. And of course, Elena, this back and forth between Emmanuel Macron and the US president goes back, and they've really this relationship has, spiraled down from the initial bromance.
Well, Macron made clear when he met President Trump on Saturday morning that angry tweeting from Trump was based on a misconception of some remarks that Macron gave in an interview last week, in which he said that Europe needed to improve its cyber defense capabilities to fight back against malicious actors in China, Russia and the US. And he also, in the same interview, said that Europe needed to invest more in a common defense force. But he didn't at any point say that Europe needed to defend itself militarily against the US. His remarks were misreported by some channels in the US, including Fox News, which is, of course, what Donald Trump watches. And as a result, the US president seems to have got a misconceived idea of something that Macron said, which he did not actually say. When the two presidents had a bilateral meeting on Saturday here in Paris, they did make an effort to look as if they were cleaning up that little dispute. Although it is clear, as you were saying there, that Macron's speech on Sunday about nationalism, in which he said it was the opposite of patriotism, and he said that the nationalist thread in the world risked resurfacing old demons, was quite clearly aimed at the avowedly nationalist US president who was sitting in front of him. Macron convened world leaders here to Paris on Sunday, of course, not just to remember the war dead, but to warn them that the international rules-based order, as Macron sees it, is in very grave danger of disappearing. And it's clear that he sees the US president as a threat to that order.
Right, Helena, thanks very much for joining us from Paris for the latest on President Donald Trump tweeting, of course, a reaction to the French president and what he said about nationalism.